Okay, quick pop quiz for you. What is the absolute most bullied country in history? Your mind might immediately jump to Korea. It's a peninsula that's practically had a revolving door for foreign invasions. Or maybe you're thinking of the Congo, which was tragically treated like a giant resource vending machine for 140 years. But if you locked in either of those answers, you'd actually be wrong. Look, Korea and the Congo definitely endured absolute horrors, no doubt about it, but they really don't quite match the sheer existential threat faced by our historical heavyweights, Poland and Armenia. We are talking about nations that weren't just invaded, they were actively undone. I mean, they were fragmented, zombified, erased, and occupied so thoroughly and so frequently that map makers literally stopped using ink and just switched to pencils. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into what is arguably the ultimate underdog story of national survival. We are looking at the unsinkable nations, a history of absolute defiance from countries that simply refuse to die. So, if you love a good story of resilience against all odds, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get into it. Before we really get going, let's define a recurring motif you're going to see popping up in these sources: the historical chew toy. Now, what is that? Well, it's a smaller nation that's sandwiched right between megalomaniacal empires. It gets repeatedly attacked, chewed up, and spit out, but it absolutely refuses to be swallowed. It's a brutal repetition of history, for sure, but it's also a total masterclass in holding on to your identity. So the story of how Poland keeps vanishing, it actually starts with how it appeared, way back in 966 AD. At the time, the Germanic and Italian kingdoms were essentially the cool kids of medieval Europe, right? And they just wouldn't recognize you as a proper state unless you were Christian. So a humble duke named Meskel got baptized, purely to join the club. And he strategically stayed just a duke to avoid looking like a threat to the massive Holy Roman Empire right next door. Smart, right? Let's move to Section 1, Disappearance 1, the siblings' spite, and see how this builds. Fast forward a bit to 1025, Mesco's son, Boleslaw the Brave, finally decided to crown himself king, and then he conveniently died almost immediately. And he left behind 3 sons who absolutely despised each other. Naturally, a brutal civil war broke out. The exiled brothers basically started whispering sweet nothings into the ears of neighboring empires, which invited a massive invasion. By 1031, this royal sibling rivalry had turned the whole country into a chaotic dumpster fire. The royal title was entirely canceled, and Poland officially disappeared from the map for the very first time. Section 2, Disappearance 2, Monarchy Light. Jumping ahead to the 1100s, we have a ruler named Boleslaw III. Now, he instituted what he probably thought was a brilliant succession plan. Instead of giving the crown to one heir, he thought, hey, let's just give everyone their own little piece of Poland. The result? 12. The country completely fractured into a cracked mirror of 12 different dukes fighting over little ponds and tiny plots of land. And because of this massive internal fracture, Poland politically disappeared into a tribal mess for 2 entire centuries. That is, until a guy with seemingly endless patience, Vladislav I, finally united the scraps in 1320. Which brings us to Section 3, Disappearance 3, the Swedish Deluge. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is, well, by 1655, Poland had actually grown back into this massive, powerful commonwealth. But a petty royal grudge and a papist drama king managed to spark a massive invasion from Sweden. Our sources refer to Sweden here as the funny country of IKEA and meatballs, and it's honestly so jarring to juxtapose our modern, peaceful, flat-packed furniture view of Sweden with the grim reality of what they actually did to Poland in 1655. Let me tell you, this was not a polite disagreement, it was total, utter decimation. The sheer scale of this devastation, known historically as the potop, is just terrifying. Over just 5 years, this man-made natural disaster dropped Poland's population by half. Literally half the people, just gone. Functionally, the entire country was reduced to an absolute wasteland. Technically, sure, the borders might have still been drawn somewhere on a map, but the country itself was basically nothing. Moving right along into Section 4. Disappearance 4, the cake slicing. So, by the late 1700s, Poland's increasingly powerful neighbors decided the Commonwealth was simply too incompetent to be left to its own devices. Their grand strategy? Slice Poland like a cake. Representatives from Russia, Austria, and Prussia nonchalantly met up and literally carved the sovereign nation into dessert pieces for themselves. They were treating millions of people like a dinner party treat.
And this wasn't an overnight thing. It was a slow, agonizing, bureaucratic deletion. In 1772, they took the very first slice. Then, in 1793, they came back for seconds. And finally, in 1795, with nothing more than the stroke of a pen on a treaty, they finished the job. Officially, Poland was completely deleted from existence, erased from the world map for a staggering 123 years.
But here's the really dark part. Taking the land just wasn't enough for them. They systematically tried to zombify and erase the very soul of Poland. German authorities outright banned the Polish language in schools. Russian officials would beat 5-year-olds just for saying mama in Polish instead of the Russian equivalent. I mean, they renamed rivers, they renamed people, and they exiled defiant priests to freeze alongside their books in the brutal cold of Siberia. They tried to wipe the very memory of Poland from the human mind. Let's look at Section 5, Disappearance 5. The historical chew toy. Miraculously, Poland actually clawed its way back into existence after World War I, right? Only to then face the absolute nightmare of 1939. Sandwiched once again between megalomaniacal empires, they faced biblical levels of brutality from Nazi Germany. And, when the Nazis were finally driven out, Stalin's Soviet Union immediately replaced one horror with another. They forced Poland into an incredibly depressing satellite state tyranny that just choked the nation until the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. Now, let's pivot for a second. Section 6, the parallel, the resurrection of Armenia. Because Poland isn't the only nation in this highly exclusive, deeply traumatized club. Look at Armenia. Here is a nation that has spent thousands of years sandwiched between massive, aggressive empires. Crushed by the Romans, overrun by the Ottomans, they endured a brutal repetition of history that deeply mirrors Poland's pain. Yet despite being chewed on by history's greatest empires time and time again, they absolutely refused to be swallowed. They held fiercely onto their culture and their language. Which brings us to our final section, Section 7, the unsinkable survivors, the absolute truth. Look, despite the sibling squabbles, the bureaucratic deletions, the cake slicing, and all those megalomaniacal neighbors, here is the absolute truth. These nations outlasted their nightmares. Let's aggressively flip the narrative here for a second. Think about the Mongols, the Teutonic Knights, the Swedish Empire, the Russian Empire, the Third Reich. Every single one of these giant empires brought terror and tried to erase these smaller nations. And today, they're all just ghosts in our history books. But Poland and Armenia, they're still sitting right there on the map. Checkmate. That is the incredible power of what we're looking at here. No matter how many times you erase the ink, the identity of these unsinkable nations remains. This sheer, stubborn resilience to simply exist, it is the ultimate checkmate to the conquerors of the world. Which leaves us with this pretty provocative thought to ponder today. When the megalomaniacal empires of our modern era inevitably crumble, and history tells us for sure that they will, which unsinkable nations will still remain on the map? Power is temporary, guys, but a nation's absolute truth? Well, that just might be forever. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.